This man is the most wanted art thief in the world. But when a skilled rival competes in his attempt to steal a priceless artifact for a massive payout of $300 million, his wheels have suddenly turned, adding the fact that Interpol is now up on his tail. He must outwit his adversaries to attain the price. Brace yourself for a thrilling ride with a twist at the end, which will definitely catch you by surprise. Hey guys, welcome back to I Am Movies. Today we'll be looking at the 2021 American crime thriller movie titled Red Notice. But before we jump into the details, make sure to show us some love by liking the video and subscribing to the channel. Now let's get right into it. In the 1st century BC, Roman general Mark Antony gifted Egyptian Queen Cleopatra 3 bejeweled eggs as a token of his undying love on their wedding day. Throughout history, the fate of these eggs has been a mystery. However, in 1907, a local farmer in Cairo unearthed 2 of the eggs, while the whereabouts of the 3rd remain unknown to date. In the present day, the 2 eggs are separated, with one housed in the Castel Sant'Angelo Museum in Rome, and the other in the possession of a dangerous arms dealer in Valencia known as Sotto Voce. An Egyptian billionaire has offered a bounty of $300 million to anyone who can reunite the 3 eggs. He intends to present them to his daughter, also named Cleopatra, on her wedding day. Special Agent John Hartley, a criminal profiler for the FBI, and the tenacious Interpol agent Das arrive at the museum to issue a warning. They've received intel from a reliable source indicating that the bejeweled egg will be stolen. As they enter the museum, they meet with the curator and warn him about the planned heist, advising him to shut down the museum. However, he dismisses their concerns. Taking Hartley and Das to the display room, he shows them the egg, which appears to be safely in place. Hartley requests a thermal sensor to scan the egg. Discovering that it doesn't reflect the room's radiation, he implies that it should reflect the heat in the room, being that it's covered in 18-karat gold. To prove his supposition, Hartley pours a Coke over the egg, causing it to melt and reveal itself as a fake. Acting quickly, Das orders the doors to be shut, hoping the thief might still be nearby. Suddenly, Hartley spots Booth, the notorious international art thief, escaping and chases after him. However, the pursuit becomes a game of cat and mouse, with Hartley struggling to keep up. As Booth flees, he encounters Das, who throws an explosive at him. Booth dodges it and races back up the stairs, only to face the museum guards, engaging in a fierce confrontation on a scaffold as he attempts to reach the top of the building. He throws them off by loosening the scaffolds, and as soon as he climbs to the top, the scaffold collapses. Just then, Hartley manages to double-cross him, demanding he hand over the bag containing the egg, but Booth hesitates. Booth knocks Hartley's gun away with the bag and heads for the window, but Hartley jumps on him and they crash onto a nearby roof, almost falling off. They both cling to the bag while hanging off the roof, but Booth slides down to the ground through a pipe beneath him. Once on the ground, Booth steals a motorcycle and makes his escape. Hartley commandeers a stranger's car to pursue him, but collides with an ice cream van as he drives off. Eventually, Booth reaches his home in Bali with the egg, only to find Hartley waiting for him in his apartment, accompanied by Das and her team. Wondering how they found him, Hartley reveals that Booth isn't as mysterious as he thinks. Hartley shares classified information about Booth, leaving him impressed. One revelation that strikes him deeply is that, among other reasons, Booth steals to prove he's worthy of his father's love. Das retrieves the egg and arrests him, sending Booth to a notorious prison in Russia. Following Booth's arrest, Hartley is at a bar, awaiting his flight to Rome, when Das suddenly appears with the egg, dropping it to the floor to reveal it as a fake. Hartley surprisingly asserts that Booth had given them a fake egg. Das acknowledges she initially had the same suspicion, but reconsidered, as Booth hardly registered in her mind. Das reveals she checked Booth's FBI records, finding nothing, and discovered Hartley received an $8 million wire transfer from an encrypted third party on the day the egg was stolen. Hartley denies any involvement with the missing egg, pleading with Das not to arrest him, but she remains unconvinced. As the only other person in the van transporting the egg after its recovery from Booth, Hartley becomes the prime suspect. Das ultimately arrests Hartley, sending him to the same Russian prison as Booth. Hartley feels frustrated when he realizes he's cellmates with the frivolous and annoying Booth. During breakfast the next morning, Booth and Hartley discuss the egg. Hartley asserts that Booth's rival, known as the Bishop, likely orchestrated the plan to eliminate both of them. Booth mentions the second egg is with Sotto Voce's possession, noting that Sotto Voce hosts a masquerade party every year for his top munitions buyers, adding that it is a prime opportunity to steal the egg. Booth then causes a scene in the cafeteria as a distraction, announcing unprovokedly that Hartley is not a cop but an FBI criminal profiler, just to get the attention of the other inmates. One of the prison's tough guys attacks Hartley, prompting the guards to react, allowing him to steal a keycard from one of them in anticipation of his escape. Soon after, Booth and Hartley receive a visitor. It's the Bishop. She reveals that she had disguised as one of the agents and switched the egg after they recovered it from Booth, and made an $8 million transfer into Hartley's account, deleted his FBI records to divert Doss's attention to him. Booth laughs at her clever stunts that landed Hartley in prison, but Hartley is furious, asserting that she has ruined his life. The bishop shares that she has the first egg and will be attending Sotovoshi's masquerade party to steal the second egg. She then asks Booth, who claims to know where the third egg is, in exchange for his freedom. Booth denies knowing where the third egg is, so she leaves, hoping he'll spill the tea as soon as he gets tired of prison. Hartley and Booth later agree to break out of the prison to stop the bishop. Later that night, Booth and Hartley are having a conversation when Hartley, knowing Booth is the son of a Swiss police captain, questions how he ended up as a criminal. Booth shares a heart-touching story of what ensued between him and his father when he was a kid. His father cherished a watch more than anything, and one day it went missing. His father accused him of stealing the watch despite his pleading innocence. His father didn't speak to him for a whole year until one day he saw him wearing the missing watch, realizing he must have misplaced it somehow. But he never had the decency to apologize for accusing him wrongly and choosing a watch over him. After that touching story, the next morning, Booth mixes soap and nitric acid to create an explosion, tossing it into a washing machine. Chaos ensues as they fight off guards, and Booth uses a key card he stole earlier to break himself and Hartley out of the building. They manage to scale the prison walls and Hartley knocks out a guard outside, using his gun to shoot at the gate guards, giving Booth time to hijack the prison's helicopter. Amidst the crossfire, Booth reaches the helicopter successfully, but discovers its instructions are written in Russian. However, he manages to maneuver it off the ground. Hartley locks in the guards and makes his way to the helicopter. A watch guard above the wall fires a missile, causing the bridge to collapse. Believing Hartley is dead, Booth tries to fly away, but Hartley suddenly surfaces and jumps into the helicopter. While Hartley furiously scolds Booth for wanting to leave him, he notices the guards firing a missile, and he quickly opens the other door. Luckily, the missile flies through and hits a rock. Meanwhile, upon learning of the prison break, Bishop anonymously informs Doss that Booth and Hartley have escaped and sends her an invite to Sotovoshi's masquerade party, knowing the duo will be there. Booth's friend Tambwe arrives at the airport just in time to pick them up and fly them to Valencia. While on board, Hartley studies Sotovoshi's house plan and asks Booth to explain it. Booth explains that the room upstairs housing the egg is a high-tech vault with heavy security measures. He reveals that the vault can only be accessed through a combination of Sotovoshi's voice, face, thumbprint, and a 12-digit number stored on his phone. He also mentions that every corner of the house has high-tech CCTV, closely monitored. He reveals his plan to access the room through a hidden entrance. Arriving at the party, Booth poses as one of the servers while discreetly communicating with Hartley through a communication device. Booth instructs Hartley to steal Sotovoshi's phone. As music fills the air, Hartley spots Bishop and approaches her. Engaging in conversation, Bishop asserts that he and Booth must be here to steal the egg, but he contends that he's not interested in the egg. He only wants to clear his name. Hartley promises to have her arrested. Hartley dances with her, to keep an eye on her and prevent her from interfering with their plans. Seeing Hartley and Bishop dancing, Sotovoshe gets jealous that Hartley is dancing with a beautiful woman at his party. He gulps down his drink, drops the cup in Booth's tray, approaches the duo, and politely asks Bishop to dance with him, to which Hartley complies, intentionally bumping into Sotovoshe. Hartley steals Sotovoshe's phone. Just then, Daz arrives at the party in disguise. With Sotovoshe's phone and thumbprint in hand, Booth intentionally spills drinks on Hartley, apologizes, and directs him to the bathroom to clean up. Booth leaves the bathroom door open to hide himself, while he hacks the CCTV to divert the attention of the surveillance operators, and then joins Hartley in the bathroom. From the bathroom, they follow the hidden entrance to the vault room, managing to bypass the security guards without being noticed. Reaching the vault, Booth and Hartley bump into each other, shattering the glass with Sotovoshi's thumbprint. Booth searches for the piece with his prints and luckily finds it. He lifts it to open Sotovoshi's phone and access the 12-digit code. Using deepfake technology, Booth projects Sotovoshi's face and voice, finally opening the vault. Just as they're about to go in, Doss surfaces, pointing a gun at them. She reaffirms her suspicion that Hartley stole the egg, but Hartley reiterates that Bishop is responsible and he's only trying to prove his innocence. Doss hands him a handcuff to arrest Booth if he's telling the truth. Hartley refuses and swiftly enters the vault with Booth, locking Doss out. Upon entering the vault, they are disappointed to find that Bishop has somehow managed to get inside before them. Booth tries to claim the egg, but Bishop puts up a fight. The duo teams up against her, but she outskills them. Soon after, Sotovoshe and his men enter the vault and capture Booth and Hartley. Surprisingly, the bishop had informed Sotovoshe that they would be coming for the egg, and they had planned to lay in wait. Booth and Hartley are taken to a dungeon. Having offered to bring him the 2 eggs, Sotovoshe assists Bishop in torturing Booth and Hartley to get Booth to confess where the 3rd egg is located. Believing they share a special bond, Bishop decides to torture Hartley instead, to get Booth to confess the location of the 3rd egg. Booth doesn't cooperate even after Bishop increases the electricity voltage to its maximum. Out of impatience, Sotto Voce steps in and strangles Hartley, prompting Booth to finally confess that the third egg is in Egypt, hidden in the secret tomb of Cleopatra. After getting a confession from Booth, Bishop shares a glass of wine with Sotto Voce, unaware that she has spiked the drink, causing him to pass out. She leaves them chained to the pole and she escapes with the second egg. A few moments later, Sotto Voce suddenly jerks up from the ground, startling them. He reaches for his gun and starts shooting at them sporadically with dizzy eyes. Amidst the chaos, Hartley somehow manages to break free, and is about to leave Booth behind for letting him undergo torture, when he could have simply confessed the egg's location. But Booth informs him that he lied about the third egg's location. Angry, Hartley asserts that he doesn't care about the egg. All he wants is to nail Bishop and clear his name. Booth tells him he can't get to Bishop without him. Hartley has a change of mind and uncuffs him. They climb to the top only to find themselves in a bull ring. And while contemplating whether to run or not, Hartley gets gored by the bull, further infuriating him. On the train, Hartley, looking frustrated and tired of Booth's games and idiocy, asks Booth in a stern voice where the location of the third egg is, but he refuses to disclose it, prompting Hartley to threaten to throw him out of the moving train, but he pulls him back in. To get him to cooperate, Hartley shares an emotional story about his dad. He reveals that his dad was a con artist who abandoned him and his mother when he was young, so he decided to become a cop, adding that in Booth's case it's the other way around. He pleads with Booth to help him catch Bishop so he can clear his name and get his life back. Moved by Hartley's vulnerable moment, Booth reveals that a certain man named Rudolf Zeig, Hitler's personal antiquities dealer, had fled to Argentina during the Nazi War, taking with him a cargo container containing stolen artifacts. Decades later, people began a treasure hunt for the artifacts rumored to have been stolen by Rudolf, and his father was among them. Obsessed with ancient artifacts, his father bid on them, acquiring the watch, which happened to be Rudolf Zeig's watch. After his father's passing, Booth found the watch his father cherished more than him carefully stowed away in his office drawer. Angered, he smashed it, discovering that the watch contained the geographical coordinates of the bunker, where the egg and other stolen artifacts were hidden. Following this revelation, Booth and Hartley set off for Argentina. With the help of a map and compass, they arrived at the middle of the forest where the bunker was located. Booth then realized he had been reading the map upside down, infuriating Hartley. Booth blamed it on the compass, but Hartley grabbed it and smashed it to the ground, only to realize they were standing right in the bunker. They opened the bunker and descended through the spiral steps. Upon entering, they found a vault which Booth opened with his father's watch, revealing a room full of ancient artifacts and finally, the third bejeweled egg. As Booth gloated over the egg, Bishop, who had been following them, surfaced, pointing a gun at him and demanding he hand over the egg. However, Das and her team arrived, and Bishop shot at them, causing them to retaliate. Amidst the crossfire, Bishop, Hartley, and Booth managed to escape in an old Mercedes-Benz, taking a different route. Das and her team chase after them in another vehicle. During the chase in the cave, Das drags the bag containing the egg, but Bishop holds onto it tight and hands it over to Booth. The trio manage to elude the Interpol agents in the cave and drive off a cliff into the waterfall. Booth emerges from the water, clutching the egg to his chest, but doesn't find Hartley. He calls out to him, but there's no response. After some contemplation, Booth sets down the egg and returns to the water, fearing Hartley might be injured. Suddenly, he hears Hartley's voice from behind. Hartley finds it amusing that Booth chose to save him over the egg, realizing Booth cares about him. Shortly after, Bishop emerges from the water. Hartley attempts to arrest her, but they end up kissing, much to Booth's dismay. Hartley reveals that they are partners and both of them are the Bishops. He explains that he had to play along, knowing Booth was their only hope of locating the third egg. Bishop admits she passed the cuff keys to Hartley while electrocuting him. Booth feels stupid for not seeing through Hartley's claims of wanting to clear his name, despite going through all the trouble to know where the third egg is. They take the egg from Booth and handcuff him to a tree. He is later discovered by Das and her team. Booth is arrested and sent to a prison even worse than the previous, but he manages to escape again. Hartley and Bishop fly to Egypt and present the 3 eggs to the Egyptian billionaire. With their $300 million prize successfully deposited, the duo quietly observes from a balcony as Das crashes the wedding, arresting the billionaire, her daughter, and even Ed Sheeran, the performing guest artist, for attacking the Interpol agents. 6 months later, Bishop and Hartley are enjoying a boat cruise in Sardinia, when Booth surprises them. He reveals that he had tipped off Das about the account where the $300 million payout was deposited, resulting in it being frozen. Booth then offers an opportunity to work together on another heist as compensation for playing him the last time, with a promise of a better payout. Hartley initially refuses, but Booth threatens to expose them to the Interpol agents who are on their way to their yacht. With this, Bishop convinces Hartley to team up with Booth, and he obliges. As the movie ends, we see the trio sets off for the Louvre Museum in Paris to do their first heist as a trio. On the other hand, Das in front of her desk issues a red notice on all three of them, making them the top 3 most wanted art thief in the world. And this is where our story ends. If you'd like to see us recap any other movies or topics you have in mind, just drop a comment and let us know. And don't forget to hit the like button, share this recap, and subscribe to stay updated for the next one. Until next time.